Hello, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Sure. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
So, today you had your examinations, right? Your NSSB examinations, and we'll be going through the question paper, okay? So the question paper I managed to get hold of was set A, okay? So this is the set A question paper, okay? So let's go through the questions, okay? One after another. The question number one was, which of the following artists popularized the Hindustani music through sitar around the world by collaborating with Western artists? So when it comes to sitar, we all know that the most famous among the artists among them is the Pandit Ravi Shankar, right? So Pandit Shankar Ravi is the one who made sitar very famous, right? And he has even collaborated with Western artists like, and then among, and not only him, okay, he has two daughters, two famous daughters. One is Nora Jones, and the other is Anushka Shankar, right? So there are two daughters who are quite famous, okay? Two famous artists, daughter artists he has, okay? So even his daughter, although Nora Jones doesn't, it's not in part with his sitar and all, but Anushka Shankar is the one who is also carrying forward his father's legacy, okay, when it comes to sitar, right? Question number two, a most popular traditional theater associated with Uttar Pradesh reverse its artist collab by identify the theater form. So in India, we have different types of theater forms, right? You might have studied in your Nitin Singh book, and in his book, in a very brief manner, he lists out the different types of theater system, right, in India. So when we say Uttar Pradesh, one of the most famous theater form is what is known as the Nautanki, okay? So the correct answer is B, okay, Nautanki. So even if you don't are not aware of this artist, if you are aware of this theater form in Uttar Pradesh, you will be quite aware that the answer is Nautanki, okay? Question number three. In India, people migrate in large numbers due to poverty, high population pressure on the land, lack of basic infrastructure facility, etc. Which of the following migration stream is mentioned in the above statement? So in India, we have different types of migration, right? Everywhere across the world, we have different type of migration. We have from rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to urban, as well as urban to rural also. So all of this migration is forced by different factors, okay? So when we talk about things like poverty, so if there is a migration because of poverty, it means that people are moving from rural to urban area, right? High population pressure on the land. Now again, a large part of India's population is heavily dependent upon the agricultural system, right? So because a large number of people are dependent upon agriculture as a a means of employment opportunity or economic opportunities, but the land is limited, right, in India. So, and because of this, there's excessive pressure on the land also, right, in rural areas. As well as in rural areas, we're also quite aware that there's a lack of basic infrastructure facilities. So all of these factors are resulting in the migration from the rural to urban areas, okay? So the correct option is C, okay, rural to urban migration. In which of the following category of Human Development Index is India group? Now, Human Development Index is an index that is developed by the, as we're all aware, UNDP, right? So UNDP measures the Human Development Index based on a number of factors, right? Like based on education, health, and the standard of living and all, right? And based on these factors, it formulates a certain numbers, okay? And if you look at the India, the score of India, you will see that it is around 0.685, okay? So because of this, India comes under the category of medium human development, okay? So in order to qualify as a high human development, it has to be above 0.700, okay? So because India's, human development index is 0.685, so it comes under the category of medium human development, okay? Which articles of Indian Constitution states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states? Now, if you go through the different article, the first article of Indian Constitution itself says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Okay, so the correct option of is 1, right? So here you will see that India and Bharat are synonymous. Okay, the word India and Bharat are synonymous; they are used interchangeably, and also it also shows what type of uh, structure does India have, right? India is a union of states, right? Although we have a certain federal structures features also, but primarily India is a union of states. Okay, so the first article itself says describes what type of structure does India have, right? Question number 6. Initially in 1950, how many articles were there in the Indian Constitution? So if you look back at it and go through the books and all, you're quite aware that it has initially India had 395 articles, right? Along with that, it was divided into 22 parts, right? And 8 schedules, okay? And however, over the years, since 1950, so many amendments in the constitution have taken place. Because of this, the number of parts and the number of articles and the number of schedules have increased over the long period of time, okay? Question number 7. Which of the following surface wind blows in a particular direction in one season but reverses in the other? Now, here the correct answer is monsoon, okay? Now, if you just refresh your mind when it comes to geography and Indian monsoon, you will see that uh, during the period from like say end of May or early part of June, let's say early part of June, since monsoon reaches India in early part of June, during the later part of May or early part of June, the wind starts blowing from southwest direction, right? And because of this southwest direction, it carries the moisture, right? And brings the monsoon, say suppose this is India, okay? And it brings the moisture to India, right? Because of the southwest monsoon. However, after a few months, the monsoon starts retreating and the wind starts blowing in an opposite direction, right? And wind starts blowing in opposite direction, and because of this, the monsoon starts retreating and the cold air sets in, right? And this is what happens in uh, in India. And because of this, we get monsoon, right? So this type of situation where we see the reversal of the wind, it's an indicative of the monsoon type climate. Okay, this is an example of monsoon type climate. And this is not something that you see in all the countries. Okay, this is something you will see in certain parts of Africa and primarily in India, right? We have the monsoon type of climate, and because of this, there is the seasonal reversal of the winds, right? Question number 8. By which date does the monsoon normally completely withdraw from the northern Indian plain? Now, as we are all aware that monsoon generally reaches India in the 1st of June, right? In the state of Kerala. So in the next few weeks, it covers the entire part of India, right? So slowly, by the 1st of June, okay, early part of September, the early part of September, the early part of September, the monsoon wind will start withdrawing slowly from India, okay? But here it says completely withdrawn, okay? Completely withdrawn from the northern Indian plains. So complete withdrawal takes place only somewhere in the mid of October, okay? So the correct option will be D, okay? So although it starts from the first week of September, okay? But the complete withdrawal takes place only by the somewhere in the middle of the October, right? Question number 9. Rashtriya Vigyan Purashkar 2024 under the category of Vigyan Ratna Award was given to. So this was given to number A, okay, Professor Govinda Rajan Padmanabhan. So he was awarded the Vigyan Ratna Award, okay, in 2024. And one thing you have to be aware of the fact is that the Vigyan Ratna Award is given for, especially in science, technology, and innovation, okay? So it is a kind of a scientific award that is being given, right? And sometimes it is also compared to Indian Nobel, okay? Indian Nobel Prize. So it is a prize that was launched only recently, okay? It's not a very old prize also, it was recently on launch, okay? Question number 10. Which of the following is a non-renewable source of energy? So, as we are all aware that energy can be converted into renewable and non-renewable form, right? So renewable are those which can be replenished, right? It is not going to get over even if you are going to use it. And these include things like the wind energy, we have the solar energy and the biomass energy, right? Biomass can be regenerated, right? Trees can be just grown, right? Even if you cut down the trees and use it for converting it into different form of heat and energy, still it can be regrown, right? But if you look at coal, it is considered to be a non-renewable source of energy. Okay, coal and petroleum. Why? Because coal and petroleums were formed over millions and millions of years, right? And because of this, they're generally brought under the category of non-renewable source of energy. Okay. Question number 11. The Indian Constitution shapes the world's largest democracy. When did the Constitution of India come into force? So, if you look at the Constitution of India, it came into force on the 26th January 1950, right? And because of this, we celebrate the Republic Day, okay? Question number 12. Where was the Gramin Bharat Mahotsav 2025 inaugurated? So it's a current affairs question. It was inaugurated at the Bharat Mandapan, New Delhi, right? Choose the Mahalanobis plan from the following years. So if you look at the, action taken by the government in the form of the 5-year plan, we see that the government has, divided the planned growth of India into different five years group, right? So we have the first 5-year plan, second 5-year, third, fourth, and I slowly. So each period includes 5 years, right? And each of these 5 years had a very focus on different factors, right? Sometimes it was the industry, sometimes it was the agriculture, human development. These are the different ways in which the government focused upon. And in one of the plan, it was termed as the Mahalanobis plan, okay? And that plan was the second 5-year plan. And it was known as the Mahalanobis plan because it was formulated by Prashanda Chandra Mahalanobis, okay, PC. So if you look at the Mahalanobis plan, the prime focus was on rapid industrialization, okay? Rapid industrialization of heavy and capital goods. So this was what the Mahalanobis plan focused on, okay? The rapid industrialization. And because it was formulated or developed by Mahalanobis, it is known as the Mahalanobis plan, okay? Question number 14. In 2025, who won the Nobel Prize for their work in physics on quantum computing? So very recent only, just few weeks back only. So the answer is D, okay? We have John Clark, Michel H. Devoret, and John M. Martinez, right? So if you look at quantum computing, these are just based upon the principle of quantum mechanics, okay? So here we have special principles that uses things like superposition. And these are the, so quantum computing is generally different from, what do you call it? Your standard computer model, right? And if you have attended my class, some of you might be aware how quantum computing also works, right? It works on the basis of qubits, right? Superposition and entanglement, okay? So these are the principles on which the quantum computing is based. The next question is, the sepoys revolted because they were made to bite bullets which were greased with cow and pig fat. This refers to which of the following events? So it refers to the revolt of 1857, right? This was a rumor that began to grow, right? About how they were made to use a special type of rifle, and those bullets were said to be smeared with cow and pig fat. Why? Because cow was considered to be a holy animal for the Hindus, and a pig is prohibited in Islamism, right? So Now let's come to question number 16, okay? The 20th century campaigns at Champaran, Ahmedabad and Quetta marked the emergence of which leader? So the correct answer is Mahatma Gandhi, right? So we have the Champaran Satyagraha. It happens in the, indigo cultivation in Bihar, where the Tin Khatia system is launched. We have the Ahmedabad mill strike, and then again we have the mills at Quetta. So these are all these situations. Gandhi played a very important role, and because of this, slowly and slowly, Gandhi came to the forefront of the freedom struggle. Okay, so these were the initial period where Gandhi played a primary role. Question number 17. What is Linotu according to Naga ancestors? Now, this is a direct question. The correct answer is D, okay? 3-stone monolith erected by the ancestors of the Nagas at Makrai Rapu, right? So, when we say Linoto, it primarily refers to the 3-stone monoliths only, okay? Question number 18. Where have the Nagas usually built their villages? So, as we are all aware, when it comes to location of the villages, our traditional villages were primarily located at the mountain tops, right? We never look to start or build the villages on the valleys, okay? All our villages, traditional villages were focused or started at the mountain tops, right? Question number 19. Which of the following will be in greater demand due to rising deployment of clean energy technology? Now, because of all this climate change, greenhouse issues, pollution, which are exacerbated by the use of coal and petroleum, right? Because of the use of coal and petroleum, climate change are happening, and because of this, in order to address this, one of the primary focus is to use the clean energy technology, right? Now, when we say clean energy technology, it primarily deals with things like solar energy, wind energy, right? Now, in order to use this energy, we need battery, right? Now, in this battery, what we need? We require lithium, right? So battery uses lithium-ion batteries, right? So the correct option is D, okay? So because of the focus on the clean energy technology, there is a high demand for the lithium by various countries across the world, okay? And lithium is also not something that is found in many countries, right? Only very limited countries has the rich source of lithium, right? Question number 20. Arrange the following locations in the time sequence on basis of solar noon. Now, here it's very simple, okay? They're just asking us to arrange as we all know that the sun starts earlier in the eastern part of India, right? And then slowly, it starts, rising in the western part of the India, right? So here we just have to arrange the 4 cities which have been given in the chronological order or in the sequence based on the sunrise which happens from left to right, right? Now, if you look at the different longitude of India, we see that Patna is located in Bihar, right? Lucknow is located in UP, Jaipur is located in Rajasthan, and Gandhinagar is located in Gujarat, right? So if you see these are from this, they have themselves arranged it from left to right, right? Or sorry, from eastern part to the western part, right? So the correct option is A, B, C, and D. Okay, in that sequence, A, B, C, and D. So they're just asking us to arrange the cities on the basis of the longitude only. Okay. On 3rd January 2025, which department launched the revamped BankNet e-auction portal? So this was launched under the Ministry of Finance. Okay, so all of these are false. All these departments falls under the Ministry of Finance. Okay, Revenue, Economic Affairs. All these 4 departments are under the Ministry of Finance. But the department which launched the BankNet e-auction portal is the Department of Financial Services. Okay. Now, the main purpose why the government or the department has launched the e-auction portal was to allow the public sector banks. No, the aim was to allow the public sector banks to e-auction the properties, right? In order to recover the non-performing asset. Now we are all aware that most of the public sector banks have a large amount of non-performing asset, right? So these are the loans where interest has not been paid or the capital itself has not been paid, right? For a certain period. Now, in order to, so because loan means they will have certain collateral, right? Now, with the help of these auctions, the banks are allowed to auction those, right? Auction those properties, right? Which have been kept as a collateral with the bank. So the main aim is to auction the properties of the public sector bank in order to address the problem of non-performing asset. Okay, so it has been launched by Department of Financial Services. On January 2025, Donald Trump was sworn in as the Dutch President of United States. So it's the 47th. So you just also remember the fact that in United States, a person can become a president for only 2 tenure. Okay, so beyond the 2 tenures, beyond 2, the person cannot even enter the election. Okay. So this is the second term of program, right? So the second term was the 47th President of the United States. Question number 23. Rear view device which allows a driver to see the area behind the vehicle for safe driving uses. So it's a convex mirror, right? Now, when we use a convex mirror, one advantage is that images are always upright, okay? You can always see the image in the upright. If you use a concave mirror on a rear view mirror, okay, in a car, the image will be inverted. That is why we never use a concave mirror. Secondly, one advantage of convex mirror is that images tend to be smaller, okay? Which means if the images are smaller means the view will be larger, right? Larger view can be focused on a smaller mirror, right? So this is the advantage of using a convex mirror, okay? First is large, and second is the upright image, right? Twinkling of a star is due to, now, if you look up at the night sky, you'll see that stars are twinkling, right? But in actually those stars are not twinkling, okay? It's just that stars are located here. A person is locating here and is looking at the stars, right? But the air is different medium, right? Like for example, the air is denser on near the surface of the earth due to gravity, right? So here we have denser air, but the upper part is rare, right? And then we have this space vacuum, right? Because of this different medium, some are more, of different densities. The light gets refracted, right? It doesn't go in a straight line. It gets refracted because of passing through different medium, and because of this, we see the twinkling of the stars. Okay, so the twinkling of the stars is due to the refraction of the light. Okay, so even if we see from our eyes as refraction, sorry, even if we see as a twinkling, but in reality it is actually a refraction of the light only. Okay, arrange the following committee in the chronological order of their constitution. Now, before the 73rd constitutional amendment came into force, that is the local self-government, the government constituted a number of committees, okay, in order to look into the issue of local self-government, right? So these include the Balban Rai Committee, Ashok Mehta Committee, GVK Rao Committee, and LM Singhvi Committee, right? So they're asking us to, in a chronological order, we just have to list out, right? So if you look at it, you'll see that Balban Rai Committee was formed in 1957. Ashok Mehta was 1977. GVK Rao Committee was in 1985. And LM Singhvi Committee was 1986. Okay, so it has been arranged already in the chronological order. So the correct option is A. Okay, A, B, C, and D. Number 26. Consider the following statements about the fundamental rights of India. So here they have given us 4 statements, okay, and we have to see which of these statements are correct, okay. Now the first statement says there are 6 fundamental rights in the Constitution. Now just leave this, okay, for one more moment. Second says right to constitutional remedy is given to Article 32. So this is correct, right? Because Article 32 gives so if any of the fundamental right has been infringed, you can directly move to the Supreme Court, right? So this is provided by Article 32. The word secular was added to the preamble in the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. So this is wrong because it was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, right? Article 15 prohibits discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or birth of place, right? This is true. So we see that second and fourth is already true. Now, number one is a, it is a kind of a right, kind of a wrong type of question statement. So why? Because although we can say that there are 6 types of constitution, but if you look at the articles, you'll see that there are many listed fundamental rights, right? So we generally group it into 6 form, but there are other rights also, right? But for the sake of this, the 4 options given, you will see that 3 options are correct, right? But we already know that third option is wrong, right? C is already wrong. So for this question, we will consider the first statement also is right, okay? So yes, the fundamental rights has been categorized and grouped into 6 fundamental rights, right? But if you look at article wise, you'll see that there are many articles that are dealing with fundamental rights, right? So even the first statement will be considered as right, okay? Niru, Miru, Water and You program was started in which of the following states? Now, this is a state program that has been launched by one of the states, okay? So the answer is Andhra Pradesh, okay? Now, this was a scheme that has been launched primarily to address the issue of water conservation and poverty alleviation, okay? So primarily, if you see water conservation is, if you think about it, you are generally seeing it from the perspective of agriculture and consumption, but indirectly it also deals with the problem of poverty, right? So the main focus of this was to deal with water conservation and poverty alleviation. Okay, it was launched by the state of Andhra Pradesh, and you also have to remember this point that different states tend to launch different schemes, right? But some states are more proactive in launching different schemes. Okay, like states like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, even states like Punjab. So these are the states which tend to launch a lot of goods, and even Kerala also. These are the states that tend to generally launch a lot of good schemes. Okay. Apart from this, Andhra Pradesh also launched another other schemes like and Telangana has also launched. Some of the even central schemes were inspired by schemes that have been launched in states of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, many of the centrals, not many, some of the central schemes have been inspired by the schemes that have been launched in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, right? So these are the states that generally tend to launch a very good schemes. Okay, identify the port located near Suez Colombo Road. Now, if you look at the Suez Colombo Road, the the road is supposed to be connected from Suez Canal, okay, to Colombo. So Colombo is in Sri Lanka, right? Now, if you look at these 4, you'll see that Paratip is in Odisha, right? Kanta is in Gujarat, Marmago is in Goa, right? And Kochi is located in Kerala, right? So if you look at the map of India, the one which is closer to Colombo, Sri Lanka is Kochi, right? Kerala. So the correct option is B, okay? Which one of the following is reclassified as a dwarf planet in 2006? Now, earlier we used to study 9 planets, then somewhere in the year 2006, one of the planet was removed out of the list of planets, right? And that was Pluto, right? So it was reclassified by the International Astronomical Union, right? As a dwarf planet and not as a proper planet, okay? Because the International Astronomical Union has a certain criteria in order to be classified as a planet, right? It has to orbit it has to, encircle around the sun in its own orbit. It should not be influenced by the gravitational force of nearby objects. So these are certain characteristics, but Pluto failed to meet those criteria, right? It is even influenced by the Pluto is itself influenced by the gravity of Neptune also. So that is why Pluto was removed out of the list of planet and it has been classified as a dwarf planet. Okay. Question number 30. Consider the following statements about greenhouse. A greenhouse is a made of glass. So this is a correct statement. Okay. So primarily when we say greenhouse, it is primarily made up of a glass, right? It's a glass house where it is primarily used in the cold areas, right? Where we can grow crops, plants, ornamental plants and all. The temperature inside the glass house structure is warmer than outside. Again, statement 4 is also correct, okay? because the whole idea behind the greenhouse is to keep the interior or the inside environment warmer than outside, right? Now, option number B and C, okay, it says the greenhouse is transparent to outgoing long wave radiation, which means greenhouse allows to the long wave radiation though chauli dena. Greenhouse is transparent to outgoing long wave radiation, okay, which means the greenhouse allows the long wave radiation to simply go out, okay. And the third statement is the glass prevents the short wave radiation from going outside. Now, if you look at the phenomenon of greenhouse, okay, now say suppose there is a greenhouse, okay, the radiation will come from the sun, right? So most of these radiations are short wave, okay. Most of the radiation that comes from the sun is short wave. Now it enters the glass, right? The greenhouse or the glass house. So most of this radiation is actually absorbed, okay, by the earth. It is absorbed by the earth, and then what is emitted out? Long wave radiation is emitted out, okay, and this long wave is allowed to be passed, right? So greenhouse gas is transparent to outgoing long wave radiation, which is true, right? Because it allows for the long wave radiation to pass out, right? Acha, wait. So sun is giving out the short wave radiation, right? And it enters the glass house, right? And the short wave is absorbed by the make a diagram out of it, okay? Kindly wait. Suppose this is the earth, okay? So say this is the greenhouse, right? This is the sun. Now radiation will come from the sun, right? These are short wave, okay? So this is the short wave radiation. This will enter the greenhouse, and then it will be absorbed, okay? So all this shortwave radiation is absorbed, okay? So the glass house will not stop the shortwave radiation from being entered, right? So it will be absorbed by the earth. Now, earth is gonna get warm, right? Earth is gonna get warm. Now, all hot bodies or warm bodies will start emitting radiation, right? Now, that phenomena will start here. So it will start radiating long wave, okay? Similarly, even here, it will start emitting the long wave. Okay. Now, what the greenhouse will do is that it will prevent the long wave radiation from going out, okay? The glass house will prevent the long wave radiation from going out, and because of this long wave radiation, this atmosphere inside the glass house remains hot, okay? Or it's not hot but warm, means warmer than outside temperature, okay? So the first and the fourth statement is right. The second statement is wrong because the greenhouse is not transparent to outgoing wave radiation, okay? It's not transparent, it is opaque because it prevents the escape of the long wave radiation. So the second statement is also wrong, okay? The glass prevents short wave radiation going outside. So this is not a very valid statement because the short wave is absorbed by the surface of the earth, right? And what is emitted is only the long wave radiation from the earth, right? So the short wave doesn't play much role when it comes to outgoing radiation, okay? So this is what happens in the greenhouse. So the correct option is C, okay? Non-cave or rock art paintings are found at ancient history. It is found at Bhimbetka caves, right? So some of the earliest paintings in India is actually found in Bhimbetka caves at Madhya Pradesh, okay? So these are actually Paleolithic paintings, okay? Name the site where Kailasha temple carved out from a single rock is located. Now, Kailasha temple is a very famous temple in Maharashtra, okay? And the Kailasha temple is a part of the Ellora cave, okay? So, if there are more than 30 caves at Ellora cave, right, which have been explored, and in one of these cave, the Kailasha temple is located, okay? So it is a rock cut architecture, okay? Which means it has been carved out from a single rock, basalt rock, and it was carved out, or it is attributed, historically it is attributed to Krishna the first, okay, of Rashtrakuta dynasty, right? So in a way you can see features of the Dravidian, okay? You can see features of the Dravidian art structure, as well as you can also see a little bit of features of Pallava and the Chalukya dynasty also, okay? So, but it is primarily considered a Dravidian art, right? You can see the influence of the Pallava and the Chalukya also. What is the meaning of the Ankami Naga word Kena, from which Jena originate? Now, the word Jena means sacred, right? The word Kena was taken out from the word Jena, okay? And the word Kena means forbidden, okay? So this was recently in news also, something related to NSA and IM also. NSCN, okay? Something related to NSN also, you will see it in the news. So the correct option is, although the word Kena has been derived, Jena originates from the word Kena. The word Jena means sacred, right? So anything that is sacred is also in a way forbidden, right? So the correct option is D, okay? 34. Tamurung was a key institution in Naga society of the past, primarily serving as a... The correct option is A, okay? Type of youth dormitory or large building decorated with elaborate carving, right? So question number 35. The ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires known as... So for those who are aware, this refers to ductility, right? So metals, you will see two features, okay? One is ductility, which means it can be made into long wires, like example like copper wires, iron wires, aluminum wires, right? Another feature is malleability. So malleable means it can be, so if you hammer the metal, it can be converted into patla sheets also, okay? Thin sheets. So that's the meaning of malleability, okay? So because here the question has been dealing with thin wires, so the answer is ductility, okay? Question number 36. Is falling from a height h. After it has fallen a height of 0.5 h, it will possess. Okay. Now there is an object which is located at that distance h. Okay. This is the ground. Right? Distance h. It says after it has fallen a height of 0.5 h. So when an object is at the height h, it is at rest, right? So rest kulito, it will have potential energy, right? Once it starts to fall, right? The moment it starts to fall, that potential energy is slowly converted into kinetic energy, okay? It will be slowly converted into kinetic energy, which means at half the height, right? Which means it is at a midpoint, it will have half the potential energy and half the kinetic energy, okay? So the correct option is C. Which department organized the Vikshit Bharat Youth Leaders Dialogue National Youth Festival 2025? So it has been launched by the Department of Youth Affairs. On Dialogue for Holistic Development of Livestock Sectors in the Northeast Region 2025 was held in which city? So it was held at Shillong, right? A child accidentally places his hand on the flame of a candle and quickly pulls his hand away. The flame represents it. Now, this is a simple science, practical science experiment. Now, if you put a hand near a flame of a candle, you will suddenly pull it away, right? So that is your response, right? The child pulling his hand away is the response, right? But the flame, in science, the flame will represent what? It is the stimulus, right? Why it is known as stimulus? Because it is the one because of which the action takes place, right? The pulling away takes place, the response takes place, okay? That is why the answer, the flame, okay? The flame will represent the stimulus. The Naga primarily inhabit a mountainous country located along the Patkai Range. So Patkai Range is something that lies between India and Myanmar, right? 41. Which program in India focuses on improving sewage treatment plants, developing river fronts, and monitoring industrial effluents in river water? Now, correct option is Namami Gange, okay? Now, Namami Gange is a scheme that was launched, around 2015-16. The primary aim was to clean our rivers. Again, although it deals with Ganga, but it also deals with other rivers, right? So in order to clean the rivers, the aim was to set up different sewage treatment plants, develop the river fronts, as well as monitor the pollution that has been discharged from the industries, right? So the correct option is B, okay? Under which scheme more than 50,000 villages have become water secure with the tagline hydrating hope, harvesting prosperity? Now, so the government has launched different schemes, okay, when it deals with the issue of rivers and waters, right? The one with the tagline hydrating hope, harvesting prosperity is Jal Shakti Abhiyan, okay? So Jal Shakti was primarily deal with to provide water, right, to rural households across India, right? 43. Is a key feature of E-Sanjivani. Now, E-Sanjivani, E is there, okay? So the whole idea of E-Sanjivani was to provide what is known as the telemedicine, okay? 43. Option is C. So when we say E-Sanjivani, it means providing telemedicine, which means instead of the patients visiting hospitals, right? The hospital provide, uh, the doctors will provide the consultation services to the patients uh, through online or video conferencing models, okay? So the whole idea is like instead of rural people going to the urban areas or visiting the tertiary health sectors, which are primarily located in the urban sectors, urban areas, aim was to provide the remote consultation with doctors and medical specialists, right? Number 44, the Union Budget 2025 increased the sectoral cap of foreign direct investment to 100% from 74%. If you have read the news, current affairs, it deals with insurance sector, right? One of the highlights of Indo-Islamic architecture is Fatehpur Sikri, named the Mughal emperor who is credited with this construction. So Fatehpur Sikri is credited with Akbar, right? Now, one of these features you will see in Fatehpur Sikri is the fusion of the Indian style as the Islamic style, right? And the Fatehpur Sikri is almost like a city, right? Or it's an area. And within this, we have the different types of monuments that are located, right? And each one of these monuments will represent, you will see the features that are good representative of both the Indian style and the Islamic style, okay? The city belonging to the Vijayanagara Empire and famous as a heritage site for the ruins of the palaces, temples, and Mahanavamitipa is known as. So the correct option here is Hampi, okay? Now, even if you're not aware of all this information, if you see a Vijayanagara Empire, it is always associated with Hampi, okay? Primarily associated with Hampi, right? Because Madurai and Mahabali, these are located in Tamil Nadu, okay? These are located in Karnataka. So it primarily deals with Vijayanagara, right? Was the first Lokpal of India. So the correct option is Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh, right? Match list 1 with list 2. Now we have to match the two lists, okay? So on the first list, we have the different states, and second shows the year in which it was formed, right? Now, if you look at all the four states, you will see that Telangana is the newest state among India, right? So it is 2014. Gujarat was formed in the year 1960. Jharkhand and Telangana, Jharkhand and Haryana, right? Now, if you look at this, you will see that Haryana was formed in the year, is older, right? Year 1966, right? And Jharkhand was formed in the year 2000, right? Jharkhand Chhattisgarh were created during this period. So the correct option is A is 3, B is 1, right? C is 4, and D is 2, right? So this is the correct option, okay? Who was awarded the Peter Thangaraj Player of the Championship in the 78th edition of the Santosh Trophy? So the correct option is Ropi Hansta, right? So this is the direct question only. The most distinctive object or artifacts of the Indus Valley civilization are. Now, if you look at the Indus Valley civilization, we have different sites, right? Yeah, different are recognized under the Indus Valley civilization. And not only that, the different places we find different types of artifacts, okay, and objects. But among all these objects, see, if you look at the Indus Valley civilization, you will find beads, you will find potteries, you will find tools, you will find seals, also. All of these things you will find. But the one that characterized or the Indus Valley civilization is what is the Harappan seal, right? Because seals are not found in many other civilizations or many other cultures or dynasty, right? In the years to come also. So the correct option is Harappan seals, okay? But you also have to remember that all of these things were found in the Indus Valley civilization, okay? Is then resulted in the creation of Bangladesh. When was the war fought? So the war was fought in the year 1971, right? And for those who are aware, it was fought in the month of December, somewhere starting from December 3, it continued till December 16, okay? So the correct option is B. In the 1960s and 1970s, India successfully made itself self-sufficient in food grains production and reduced the dependence on food imports. What was this development called? So we all know it. The 1960s was the year during which the Green Revolution started in India, right? So the prime aim was to rice and wheat, right? Where we use the high-yielding varieties, fertilizers, irrigations, different types of modern agriculture techniques were used in order to increase the agriculture production, okay? What revolution deals with milk only? 53, the most abundant element in the universe is hydrogen, right?
Yes.
54, soaps are sodium or potassium salts of, for those who are quite aware of it, is a fatty acid, okay? So the definition itself of soap in chemistry is, when we define soap in chemistry, it simply means soaps are the sodium or potassium salt of long chain fatty acid, okay? Of long chain fatty acid. That's how we define soaps in the chemistry, okay? 55. The provision in the Constitution of India for maintaining residual powers in the center is inspired by which of the following constitution? So you see that if you have read the earlier part of polity, Indian Constitution, you will see that you will have come across a list of how Indian Constitution was inspired by the constitutions of different parts of the world, right? So when it comes to the these residual powers, the concept was inspired by the constitutions of the Canada, okay? Question number 56. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the Indian polity? Now, the 42nd Constitution Amendment Act was passed in 1974. This is wrong because it was passed in the year 1976, right? V.V. Giri was the 4th President of India. This is correct. Supreme Court propounded the basic structure doctrine in the Constitution of India in the Keshavananda Party case. This is also correct because it was in the Keshavananda Party case where the term itself, basic structure, was mentioned by the Supreme Court, right? Justice Harilal Kanya was the second Chief Justice of Supreme Court. No, Harilal Kanya was the first, okay? So the first and the fourth options are wrong, right? So second and only B and C are correct. The Naga territory within India is divided among which of the following states? Now, we all know that the concept of Greater Nagaland, right? So the concept of Greater Nagaland entails how the Greater Nagaland. So it is a vision of our forefathers to, you know, to unite together the different areas that have actually been like traditionally held by the Nagas, right? Or where the Nagas are traditionally found. So this include, so in Mizoram, though you are not, it's not a part, right? You won't find Nagas and all. Tripura is also out. Meghalaya is also out. So the correct option is Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland. Okay, so you see that if you think about it, you will see that the Nagas are found in Manipur, Arunachal, and Assam, right? So the whole concept of Greater Nagalim is to unite all these contiguous area together, right? And form the Greater Nagalim. In the Ao Naga language, what does the word lim means? So lim means lamb, right? Lima or lim, right? It's the same thing. So even the word the Ukna lim, so the word lim is taken from the Ao, which means the land, right? Who was the head of the Union Constitution Committee of the Constituent Assembly of India? So it is Jawaharlal Nehru, right? Who among the following was the first defense minister of independent India? So if you look at the history, you'll see that the first defense minister was Baldev Singh, okay? On 6 January 2025, the Financial Intelligence Unit India signed a memorandum of understanding with which of the following organization to combat money laundering and terrorism financing in insurance sector. Now, this is a question that seems like a tough, okay, but here itself says that in insurance sector, right? Now, who looks after the insurance in India? Insurance Development Authority of India, right? So the answer is, even if you're not aware of the current affairs, so this is an easy way to answer the question, right? In insurance sector. So the answer is IRDAI, right? Insurance Development Authority of India. 62. Which of the following countries are members of the Quad? Now, Quad is a regional, not actually a regional, but a grouping of 4 countries, okay? So the main Quad deals with countries in the Indo-Pacific, right? So in a way, it is to indirectly counter the rise of China, okay? So it includes countries like, so China is out because the whole idea is to counter China only indirectly. So it includes countries like India, Australia. So these are located in the Indo-Pacific, right? India, Australia, United States, and Japan. Right? So these are correct option because France is not in the Indo-Pacific region, right? So you can just omit the France out. So Quad is primarily dealing with Indo-Pacific, okay? Which of the following endorsed the Global Forest Principles and adopted Agenda 24 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century? No, the correct answer is this Rio Convention, okay? So Rio Convention was the convention that took place in 1992, right? And it gave rise to different protocols also. So it was the one that adopted the Agenda 21, right? So even if you're not aware of the Global Forest Principle, you will be, if you have learned a bit on the Agenda 21, you'll know that it's dealing with Rio Convention, okay? 64. Which one of the following crops is grown in the Rabi cropping season in India? So we have the Rabi, Kharif, and the Zaid crops in India, right? The cropping patterns in India. So Kharif primarily deals with rice and all, right? Rabi deals with wheat, right? Zaid deals with things like watermelon, right? The one which is grown after Rabi and before Kharif is known as the Zaid, right? The 16th Finance Commission of India is headed by which of the following economists? Now, if we're all aware that after every 5 years, the President of India constitutes the Finance Commission, right? So with a term of reference, right? How to do the term of reference to the case is given by the Constitution and the President, right? So the 16th Finance Commission, the recent one, is headed by Aravind Banagaria, right? President of India when the 100th Constitutional Amendment Act of India was promulgated. Now, if you look back, you will see that it is Pranab Mukherjee, okay? So next question, it gives us 2 lists, okay? So on the left side, we have the main river, and the right side, we have the tributary, right? So this tributary will join the main river, right? It's sub point. So if you look at the 4 option, you will see that Kosi is actually a tributary of Ganga, right? Amravati is also a tributary of Kaveri, Zaskar is also a tributary of Intas, and Bhima is also a. So Bhima will automatically become a tributary of Krishna, right? So it has already been arranged properly. So the correct option is C, okay? Extracts of which of the following plants found in Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh have been successfully used in anti-cancer drug? So here it is Himalayan new, okay? So this plant, from this plant, we extract a certain chemical known as the Taxol, okay? And this Taxol has been used in the treatment of cancers, okay? Now, question number 69. We have two lists, okay? So on the left side, we have the government scheme, and on the right side, it shows the year in which it started functioning, right? So the first is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, right? The main aim is to open their bank accounts, right? To ensure financial inclusion. So it was, launched in the year 2014. Next is the Atal Pension Yojana. So this is a small pension scheme that was launched by the government. The whole aim was to provide, initially to provide, a certain insurance pension to the informal sector. Right now, it is open to all the citizens of India. So this is also the 2015, okay? It started in the year 2015. Next is the Ayushman Bharat. The main aim of Ayushman Bharat was to provide, you know, medical security, right? So it was launched in the year 2018. And the fourth one is Mission Saga. So it was launched in 2020, right? So this is also arranged in proper order only. Which of the following sets of articles govern the legislative powers between the union and the states? So the correct option is Article 245 to 255. Okay. So if you look at the articles from 245 to 255, it deals with how, including the three lists. Okay, the union list, state list, and the concurrent list, residue list. All these things comes under it. In fact, it comes under Article 245, 246 only. The three lists. So all these are dealing with the issue of legislative powers, right? So legislative power means who will make the laws, right? Who will make the laws in which topic? For example, if it is like mines and minerals and all, it belongs to the power in the union list. So the central government is going to make this. Or if it is like education golito, it is in the concurrent list, which means both the center and the state can make laws, right? So when we say legislative powers, it simply means who is going to make the laws, right? So it deals with Article 245 to 255, okay? 71. Which initiative in India revives ancestral wisdom, galvanizing citizens towards water conservation? So this is C, okay, Catch the Rain campaign. So it was a scheme launched by the government. The whole idea was to, catch the rain where it rains, when it rains, to revive the ancestral knowledge of how people were ancient times, how people were, you know, conserving the water through different methods, and how to we use this in modern times, right? Question number 72. Which of the following areas saw significant production and investment momentum in the financial year 2025? So this is A, right? 73. Name the river mentioned in the Rig Veda which is considered of immense importance for the Indus Valley civilization. So for those who are having a brief awareness, the correct answer is Saraswati. Okay, so in modern day Saraswati does not exist, but it is a river that has been mentioned in the ancient India. Okay, in the Rig Veda. Which legendary Maratha ruler posed the most daunting challenge to the Mughal ruler Aurangzeb by attacking Surat in 1664, the prime Mughal port? So the correct option is B, right? It was Shivaji Maharaj who attacked the port of Surat, okay, in 1664. A Moroccan traveler wrote a book about travel. The name of the book was Rila, okay, describing details of India's social cultural life in the 14th century. Name the traveler. So the correct answer is Ibn Battuta, okay. So he visited India during the 14th century, okay, during the Delhi Sultanate. So he visited during the Delhi Sultanate period, and it was during the period of Tughlaq dynasty, okay. He visited during the period of Tughlaq dynasty, and he wrote the book Rila, okay, and it describes the India's social and cultural life in 14th century, right? Grammatical questions, okay? Starting from question number 76. So, question number 76, 77, and 78, we just have to see which one has been properly spelled, okay? So if you look at the accommodate spelling, you'll see that it is ACCOMMOTAT, right? Accommodate. So the correct option is A, right? Accommodate. Second is conscientious, right? The correct option is CON, conscientious. So it should be CONSCIENTIOUS, right? 77 should be C, conscientious. Okay. Third one is receive, so it should be RECEIVE, right? Conscientious, accommodate, double M, double C. So these are the three spellings, okay? Now, starting from question 79, we have to fill in the most appropriate alternative, okay? So the first sentence is, she managed to finish the report dash the tight deadline. So we're all aware, we often use it in the common conversation also. So it should be in spite of the, in spite, also, wait. She managed to finish the report. Should be despite, right? Because of is not mentioned here also, right? Right. Despite that, in spite that. She managed to finish the report. Right, the third time. Okay, so it should be despite because of is missing, right? Despite the title. Question number 80. If I dash aware of the consequences, I would have acted differently. So here it should be had been, okay? If I had been aware of the consequences, I would have acted differently, right? So that's the correct appropriate use of the verb. Finish her speech, dash the applause began. Now, here, the correct option should be D, okay? When the applause began. Because here began means it indicates a time, right? So, when should be used, right? Hardly had she finished her speech when the applause began. Read the sentence carefully and identify the part that contains the error. Now we have to look at the sentence and we have to see in which part of the sentence is the error present, okay? 82, he don't know what to do in the situation. So here we have a third person singular pronoun, right? So third person singular pronoun should have does not, right? It should not be done, right? So here this is wrong, right? So the correct option is A because it should be he does not know what to do in the situation, right? 83. Neither of the boys have done the task. So here B, neither of the boys has, okay? So the correct option is B because it should be has done the task, right? Neither of the boys has done because it's saying that not even one of the boys has done, right? 84. She is senior than him. Now here is senior than him. Now if you look at this sentence, it should be she is senior to him, okay, not than him. So the correct option is B because instead of then it should be do, right? So this is the error in the sentence, okay? 85. The sentence that is logically correct and well structured is she left early due to fatigue. Okay, this is thick only. Because of the fatigue, she left early. So this is also not very wrong, but generally we don't begin a sentence with a conjunction, okay? Because conjunction, the whole idea of conjunction is to join two sentences, right? Because of this, because it's generally not used in the beginning of a sentence. So although it's not very wrong also, but grammatically it's not grammatically it's improper. Okay, she left early because fatigue. This is also wrong. Fatigue, she left early due to, this is wrong, right? So the correct option is A. She left early due to fatigue.
거의다 나이스잖아요. 이거 관심을 말아주고.
Sentence that shows the correct parallel structures. Now, here it describes a person who does three things, right? Singing, dancing, and swimming, right? So these are the three verbs that the person does, right? Or likes to do. Now, when we say correct parallel structure, it means it should be in the verb should be in the same form. Okay, now here the singing and dancing are in the proper form, that is ing form, but the swim is not in the ing form, right? Which means it is not the parallel structure. Okay, similarly here it is in the ing form, but sing and swim is not in the ing form, so this is also wrong. Okay, here the sentence itself is wrong. It should be he likes to sing, dance, and swim, but here we have he likes singing, dancing, and swimming, right? Because all the three verbs are in the ing form, which shows that it has a parallel structure, right? So the correct option is D, okay? 87. Which sentence uses correct inversion after a negative adverbial? Okay, now this is a very technical grammatical way of, it shows, it asks, no, the question that they're asking is, which of these sentences is using an inversion after a negative adverbial, okay? So which means the sentence should begin with a negative adverbial, okay? Negative adverbial. So negative adverbials are things like rarely, hardly. You don't want the negative adverbial, okay? So it should be, the sentence should begin with a negative adverbial, okay? So generally how it should, how the structure of the sentence should be is that first there should be a negative adverbial, okay? After that, it should follow with an auxiliary verb, okay? Auxiliary verb. After that, only the subject should come, okay? And after that, the rest of the sentence should come. So usually what happens is we have the subject, right, in a normal sentence. Then we follow the predicate form, right? But here the sentence should begin with a negative adverbial, right? So here we have rarely, rarely, right? Next should be an auxiliary verb, right? Auxiliary verb is there, had, right? Then after that, the subject is coming, which is he, and after that only the rest of the sentence is coming, right? So the correct option for 87 is A, okay? Rarely had he seen such exemplary courage, right? 88 to 90, choose the most suitable antonym of the given word from the alternative given below. Now, here different words are given and we have to choose the antonym, okay? Antonym ko dito, opposite, right? Now, brevity. When we say brevity, it simply means short, right? So in order to, for an opposite, what it should be? The long-windedness, right? Long-winded means it is very long only, right? So the correct option is long-windedness, okay? Second word, question number 89 is innocuous. So when we say innocuous, it means no, it doesn't like it means harmless, okay? So when we say innocuous, it simply means harmless, right? So the opposite should be, so the word like harmless, benign, safe, these are synonyms to this, right? So the opposite should be, which is antonym, should be harmful, right? So the correct option is B, okay? So innocuous, harm. So antonym is harmful, right? Now, question number 90 is a tough word. It says obsequious, right? Now, when we say obsequious, it simply means like someone is putting so much effort in order to please someone, okay? Like, you come across people who tend to, work so hard in order to please their loved ones or their boss in work. So that quality is known as obsequious, right? So if you look at the four options, the correct option is C, okay, haughty, because the words servile, unctuous, and psychopathic, all these three are synonymous or have the same meaning as obsequious, right? So correct option is haughty, okay? Number 91 to 93, fill in the blanks by choosing the most appropriate alternative given below them. So if you look at the four options given, you will know that she is fond of music, right? I saw that one-eyed man crossing the street. So here we have four options: N, U, pause, and A. So here we have one, right? So one is O, it begins with O, and O is actually as a vowel, right? So generally what we use is N, right? But the problem is the vowel, right? One, okay, the word one is pronounced as if like it starts with W, okay? So instead of N, what we'll use is A, okay? So the correct option is I saw a one-eyed man crossing the street, right? Now, question number 93. Hema speaks English dash than her sister. Now, here we have two people comparing, right? So only when two people are comparing means we are going to use better, right? Hema speaks English better than her sister, right? Now, number 94 to 96. Choose the correct synonyms for the given words from the alternative given below them, right? Vivid. Now, when we say vivid, it means very clear, right? Or colorful or strong, something like that, right? So dull is wrong, right? Obscure is also wrong because it is not clear, right? Mild is also not. It's also wrong because other synonyms for vivid is like things like strong, right? So the correct option is lifelike, okay? C. Now, torpid. Oh, torpid is an adjective. So when we say torpid, it simply means something like inactive, okay? Inactive or passive or lazy. Anything or something related to that is torpid, okay? So synonym will be sluggish, right? Because being energetic, being alert, being eager are almost synonyms, right? Something related to torpid. So it should be sluggish. Since we are looking for synonym, okay? Synonym means same meaning, right? Now, the third word is esoteric, right? Esoteric, okay? It means not common, okay? Something that is not very common. Now, because it is not common or it is only understood or liked or preferred by people with certain people, right? Only by certain people, okay? Meaning of esoteric, okay? So when we say esoteric, it means something that is not very common, and because of that, only few people enjoys or prefers those things, okay? And so the correct option would be obscure, right? Which means It's because it is obscure, it is only preferred by certain people, or it can be understood only by certain people, right? Question number 97 to 98. Choose the grammatically correct sentence from the following alternative. Now, here we have 4 sentences, and in each of these sentence, only one is correct, right? Out of these 4 sentences. Now, here we have she did not knew the answer. So this is wrong because you can't have did and knew, right? Two verbs cannot be present. Two past verbs cannot be present at the same sentence. So this is wrong. She did not know the answer. So this is correct, okay? Actually, she did not know the answer. This is wrong because does is plural. Here also another plural verb is there. So double plural is also wrong. And fourth one is also wrong because she don't knew the answer is also wrong, right? It should be she did not know the answer. So the correct option is B, okay? 98. They have finished their work. They has finished their work. So this is wrong because they is plural, right? So it has to be have, right? They having finished their work. Again, this is wrong, right? They had finished their work. So this is also wrong because it should be finished. They had finished their work, right? So the correct option is they have finished their work. Ice means, so when we meet a new person, you try to break ice with them, right? So to initiate a conversation in a social situation, right? So breaking the ice means, when you meet someone new and you try to start a relation or try to have a conversation with them, that is known as the break the ice, okay? Despite the rain, they were determined to press on. In the above sentence, the idiomatic use of press on most nearly means, so despite the rain, they are determined to press on, which means even if there was rain, they were determined to continue what they were doing, right? So stop abruptly is wrong. Lean against the surface is also wrong. Continue with determination, right? They were determined to press on. So the correct option is C, okay?